When I was young, my life was a breeze. Even though we were poor, we didn't really need much, and my school life was kinda great. My sister was popular, you see. And because she was friends with the most popular and prettiest girls in school, that kinda made sure that nobody picked on me too much. Hi, I'm Dan, and this is the story of how the hottest girls in school became my stepsisters and tutors. Before anything else, though, don't forget to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up and hit that notification bell icon to show your support for me. There were 6 girls in my sister's group of friends. The 5 others were probably the richest, hottest, and most popular girls in school. 3 of them being triplets. I'd always had a huge crush on them. Especially Stella, Aisha, and Sky, the triplets. They were always hanging out at our house, even spending many sleepovers and weekends there. That was kinda how I got close to them. And soon enough, my sister's girlfriends were spending more time with me than her. My mom didn't mind it so much. After all, they basically grew up at our house, and she just considered it free babysitting. What she didn't know was that I was crushing hard on all of them. And if it wasn't for my sister constantly skulking around the house, I would have already tried to kiss one of them. Stella, Aisha, and Sky loved my family so much that they wanted us all to be one family. I wished the same. I was fine being poor, but I thought, if only Stella's dad was my dad too, maybe my mom wouldn't have to work so hard at her 3 jobs just for us to have food at the table. Hanging out with the rich girls brought out a bit of envy in me too. Whenever they'd take us out, I always felt jealous that I couldn't keep up with them. They always had such nice clothes and cars, and they could buy whatever they wanted. They definitely got to hang out with all the other cool people at school. And so, one time, I pretended I was rich too. I just wanted to be part of their awesome world where awesome people were always doing awesome things. When I next hung out with my classmates, I bragged about my holiday in Spain. Oh yeah, it was a bit too warm for me, but the food was amazing. My mom took us to this really old castle and we got to stay for the night. And then, we were taken on a tour of my uncle's vineyard. My uncle has the most insane car collection. Lambos, Bugattis, you name it, he has it. He told me he was gonna give me one when I turn 18. My classmates ate it up. They didn't really know we lived on the other side of the tracks, just a few minutes from school, but they always saw me hanging out with the rich girls, so they assumed I was rich too. Unfortunately, while I was bragging away, I didn't notice that Stella and her sisters had been listening. They came out from behind the crowd and said, "Wow, must have been a nice trip. And you managed to not get a tan somehow. You should really take us to your uncle's vineyard sometime." I was sweating bullets. I thought the triplets were gonna bust me right there and then. Instead, they just grabbed me and took me to their car. They drove me to their house. It was the first time I'd ever seen it. It was so big, you could have fit 10 of my houses in theirs. "So, you've been telling everyone you're rich, huh? Well, how about you stay here for a few days so you can experience how it's really like? That way you'll have better lies to tell your friends next time. And don't worry about your mom. We already told her we're borrowing you for a week." That was the most awesome week of my life so far. Aisha had all the consoles and games I could ever hope to play. Stella took me shopping and brought me to the city's coolest clubs. We didn't even have to be in the queue. They just let us in as soon as they saw Stella. And Sky? She loved anything that went fast. She taught me how to ride horses and let me drive her race cars. But when the week ended, I felt sad. I kind of wished that weekend would never end. Even the triplets' dad was cool. George was always nice to me. When he hugged me, it only made me miss my dad. The sisters saw this, and they understood that, like him, I also wished our families would be one. They eventually hatched a plan. They would introduce their dad to my mom, and they would push for them to date each other. When the triplets visited our house, they convinced my sister to save George's number in mom's phone as future husband. And they did the same for their dad, saving my mom's number on his phone as future wife. And then, my sister, posing as my mom, texted a simple "hi" to George. What followed next was history. Our parents had a laugh about the whole thing, and it started their constant talking to each other. One day, George asked my mom on a date. The triplets found them a super romantic setting next to a lake. Behind the bushes, Stella instructed some violinists to hide. And when their date was about to end and George kissed my mom, the violinist played music while in the distance. Me, my sister, Aisha, and Sky set off beautiful fireworks for our parents to watch. If that wasn't enough to tell my parents that we approved of them being together, I don't know what is. Luckily, our plan worked. My mom and George got married months later, and we finally got our wishes. Neither of our parents were lonely anymore. The triplets got their best friends as stepbrother and stepsister, and my mom didn't have to worry so much anymore about money. And I got to call George Dad. Finally, when I told stories about my luxurious holidays and cool uncles, I wasn't lying anymore. Stella, Aisha, and Sky became my tutors. They weren't just pretty, they were smart too. Whenever I had any troubles understanding something, they'd spend hours in my room just teaching me. I became the envy of all of the boys in my class. They even ended up pestering me to introduce them to my stepsisters. They even came to our new house as often as they could, just so they could catch a glimpse of them and have my sisters tutor them too. The one sad thing was, I guess I couldn't marry one of my crushes either. I mean, I still thought they were cool and pretty, but I don't think Dad would approve of me marrying any of them. So as time went on, I married Nina. She was the quiet one in my sister's group of hot friends, and she used to always blush whenever I looked at her directly. I always found that really flattering, and so, when I asked to take her out on a date, she agreed. I knew it would be smooth sailing. Nina turned out to be my perfect match. She liked the same things I did, she had the same dreams as me, and she was very supportive of the things I did. We made each other laugh, and when she kissed me, I felt like the world melted away. I asked Nina to marry me, and she said yes. For 6 years, our lives were perfect, and our families could not be happier with our relationship. Dad even bought us a mansion as a wedding gift. But one day, I noticed something, and I beat myself up for not noticing it earlier. At first, I just shrugged it away because I thought maybe Nina was trying to do something different from her usual routine. But somewhere in the back of my head, my brain told me something was wrong. When we were dating in our first year of marriage, there was not a day that Nina would even touch cilantro. She wouldn't even touch anything that a piece of cilantro had touched. She was highly sensitive to it. And that day, I saw my wife chuck a bunch of it into the blender and drink an entire glass of the thing. I didn't know what to do. But with every minute I thought about it, I noticed more and more about how the woman in my house acted increasingly different from the woman I married. So I decided to watch her closely. And one day, I saw her writing with her right hand. It finally all clicked. In the last 5 years, I never even saw her write in front of me. Whenever I asked her to give me a list of groceries, she'd insist on sending me a text or a voice message. And I never noticed. Who writes down anything these days anyway? The things that I'd ignored were the things I should have paid more attention to. Nina was left-handed. I walked out from where I was hiding, and very calmly I asked her, "Where's my wife?" Mira turned her head so quickly, I was afraid her neck would snap. Her eyes were wide with fear, and she knew there was no way she could lie her way out of it. What are you talking about, honey? Drop the act, Mira. Where is she? Where's my wife? Mira finally gave up the act. I'm not telling you. You're mine. Mira was Nina's identical twin. She was the 5th of my sister's best friends, and she'd always liked me more than any of them. I'm not yours, Mira. I'm married to your sister, and you know that. So what? She's gone now, and you're mine. It's not fair. I liked you first, and I told you I liked you first. Why does she get to have you? She only liked you because she knows I like you. You're with me now. You've been with me for 5 whole years. What does it matter? What do you mean she's gone now? I love your sister and she loves me. I didn't marry you. Now, you better tell me what you've done to Nina, or I'm calling the police. And that was when Mira's eyes filled with fear again. It told me that she might have done something really bad. That if I called the police, it would mean she'd be locked up for a long while. Mira's tears began to flow. They're at home.